will forever live in infamy. Today is the only day I have witnessed a man being convicted for mere buffering, for what he said from his mouth, not what he did with his own hands. The verdict is not consistent with the evidence laid before the court. The sentence is overbroad, cruel, and unusual. How can you convict a man for making mere broadcasts from a location that was never named, and he never tied that broadcast to any single incident of violence, or even someone slapping someone, not to talk of terrorism? He did all this. He didn't lay any evidence. I don't know where this whole verdict can be grounded in law, logic, or facts. We disagree with the judgment vehemently, and we are going to fight it from here onwards until justice is done. Judgment, politics is based on some primordial sentiments. Just because Nnamdi Kanu is Igbo. An Igbo man has become the person in Nigeria that should be trampled upon. I'm not saying this because I'm Igbo. I'll say it for the Hausa or Yoruba who gets trampled upon. But today we saw an Igbo man being trampled upon, and by God Almighty, we are not going to allow it. Nobody is going to trample on me. Nobody is going to trample on Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. He's a man that was pursuing change. To pursue a separate nation of yours is not a crime. So in Nigeria today, if somebody says don't be silly, you get convicted. Nnamdi Kanu may broadcast, and so what? And you convict him for terrorism for mere words in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What kind of precedent is being laid? So from here, we are heading to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal is the only court in this country, or the next court in this country, that sits as a jury. We are going to approach justices there to check out what happened in court today. And we are pretty sure the justices will agree with us that today was the symbol of the travesty of justice that everybody has been suspecting all along. If the Court of Appeal disagrees with us, we head to the Supreme Court. But by God Almighty, Nnamdi Kanu is not going to stand convicted. Is going to get overturned. Thank you.
First of all, I want to talk to the Igbos that nobody should take laws into your hand. I'm assuring you, this judgment is predicated on anger. Thank God that the judgment was streamed live and everybody watched it. You will see the anger in delivering the judgment, and it's not predicated on law. Now, I also want to let you know that this charge, that the investigation that gave rise to this charge was not investigated, because Nnamdi Kanu's statement, purported statement, was rejected by this court, and they did not tender any document as investigation report. That is to say, the investigation was not, the offense was not investigated. Having said that, also something that happened in court today. Nnamdi Kanu filed a matter in Court of Appeal, and he's asking, my lord, that particular matter I filed in Court of Appeal anchored on this particular issue. Please, can you just suspend this judgment? Let Court of Appeal direct what to do. My lord refused. Now, on the issue of anger, you journalists will bear with Nnamdi Kanu that government, Nigerian government, and the judiciary are not fair to Nnamdi Kanu. What do I mean? Nnamdi Kanu was given judgment by Court of Appeal. Federal government refused to comply with that judgment given by Court of Appeal until after 8 days before the appeal against it. When we get to the Supreme Court directed the prosecution what to do. Amend this particular charge. Nnamdi Kanu was saying that, please, can you amend this charge? They refused. With the combined effect of all this, I'm assuring you that this judgment will not stand, and the Court of Appeal will do justice to it. Now, I also want to plead with Judicial. Nnamdi Kanu is representing himself, because the court has given the prosecution a blanket order to detain Nnamdi Kanu wherever they want. They should detain Nnamdi Kanu where we have access to file his appeal, because he has 90 days to file his appeal. And the judge said that the judgment will be ready in the next 15 minutes. And also enjoy the media. We have the record of proceedings from the day the matter came to this till today. I want you to check the record of proceedings and evidence tendered, reconcile it with the judgment. Now you now see what we are talking about. You are bringing British into this matter, bringing America into this matter. You are now trying to so that the British and America will be against Nnamdi Kanu. Something that was not an issue, that was never tendered, that was never given evidence on, and they are raising the issue. So this is a judgment against the Igbos. This is a judgment against the good people of Southeast, and it's because of Nnamdi Kanu is an evil. You cannot give this kind of judgment to a northern. You cannot give it to a southwestern. You cannot give it to another tribe in Nigeria apart from the Igbos. And we are going to start against it, because it has happened in this country against some other persons, including Abiola. The Igbos join hands together to fight against it. Why should you be our own time and everybody's sitting at table? It's unfair. Thank you.
We started this trial. I refrained from speaking to you at the press because the profession does not allow me to discuss with you what happened in our West of the court. The profession does not allow me to tell people what happened in court. But today, we have come to a final end.
This guy, your head is inside now. Bend down small.
And therefore,
his head is entering now. The head is inside the shop.
I one way or the other appreciate the judiciary. You remember just last Monday the president was saying, at any time when Nigeria is in big trouble or things, the judiciary has always come to the aid to salvage Nigeria. Again, the judiciary has salvaged Nigeria from the laws, from oppression.
You are shaking my camera.
Prescribed IPOB. The court has also pronounced death sentence on Eastern Security Network, which was the military wing, IPOB. Today, God has brought an end to injustice, oppression, suffered by our brothers and sisters of the eastern states of Nigeria. They will not be able to sleep with their two eyes closed. What is important is that every Nigerian must consider issue of security as his personal business. When you look away, when you compromise, or when you show fear, you are encouraging the miscreants, the vandals, the criminals, the terrorists to fester. This issue ought not to have festered for that long. Nigeria is our own country. We have no other country we can call our own. Secondly, it is our responsibility as Nigerians to help the government by way of information. To have during the trial information concerning how several heads of human beings were used to bury somebody who is a criminal. So just because people are afraid, we all must be courageous enough to confront terrorism, criminality, and all sort of things. I know that, political insinuations or perspective will be put to this matter. I was in court in there when somebody was saying, oh, Yoruba, oh, Hausa, oh, Igbo. We are all Nigerians. We must love one another. We must not compromise the security of the country on the basis of those remedial sentiments. So I congratulate Nigeria today for seeing the end of this, and let it be a warning to those who may think they are bigger than Nigeria. Nigeria is bigger than every one of us. The law is bigger than every one of us, and the law will take its course to deal with miscreants, to deal with terrorists, to deal with criminals. You know, all of us are victims when we keep quiet. All of us are victims when we don't do what we ought to do. Therefore, let everybody be.
This is exactly the reason why these Igbos are feeling marginalized, because how can you pass such a judgment? Obviously speaking, this judgment was delivered out of anger, probably because what happened in the morning, that the altercation that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had with the judge. Of course, if you watch the stream, if you watch it earlier in the morning, if you watch what happened before the judgment, you could tell that yes, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's reactions was a bit harsh. I wouldn't blame him because of what he has passed through for the past 10 years in the hands of these people, this government. And you could see the prosecutor when he was reading out whatever he was reading out, and it was as if it has been planned. Exactly what the prosecutors read out, exactly the demand of the prosecutor was what was granted. If you follow the judgment, if you follow it from beginning, you could see that the prosecutor, whatever he has said, was exactly what the judge has to, hamper on, and that was what he make up to use as his judgment. If not for the international law, whatever that according to the judge that he said, that Nnamdi Kanu would have been executed, he would have been sentenced to death by whichever means. That would have been the judgment. And this can only happen to somebody from the southeast. This judgment is not fair. Haven't kept this man for over 10 years, and now you are passing this kind of judgment to him. This man for one day has never raised an arm. Thank God that he said that when they arrested him, they found what is it called, electronics device on him. That is the only thing. They didn't see weapon. They didn't find anything on him. They only saw a recording device on him. That is the only thing they saw on him, and that is the evidence, and that is the exhibit that they are now using to convict him as a terrorist. This is really not fair. If you look at what is going on, looking at other people, look at the crimes that other people have committed. We have had bandits and every other person that has been coerced into the army that are causing mayhem in this country, and nobody is talking about it. The incessant buying of people and all of that, nobody is saying anything about it. Now, because this man is from the southeast, because this man is an Igbo man, they cannot do anything. They just have to push him down and oppress. This is what I call to my own is is an oppression. And for how long are we going to continue this? If the people now rise up, it will now turn to a different thing. They will now target a different thing. That yes, that these are terrorist group. Meanwhile, this is not a terrorist group. I think we are calling on the federal government. We are calling on the people that are involved in this to actually look into this matter again, to look or reconsider this judgment and do the right thing. Thank you.